dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle. No script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more than talk, this is thought that counts. Welcome to the feed where the signal mounts.
You know, it feels like you can't escape it now. AI, it's just everywhere. Popping up in ways we maybe didn't even expect, right? Affecting basic tasks, but also like creativity and jobs. It really makes you stop and think, where is this all going?
It really does. And to try and get a handle on that, we spent some time with excerpts from an OTW Live YouTube video. The title's pretty provocative. AI took my job, my art, and my mind. What's left?
Yeah, that definitely grabs you.
And what's great about using this as source material is it's not just theory. It's capturing sort of real-time reactions from people who are actually using AI, talking about it, worrying about it.
Exactly. So our mission today really is to dive into that video and unpack how these folks are seeing AI's impact. We're talking jobs, yeah, but also art, music, questions about who's in control, and some pretty big ideas about where society might be headed. And what really jumped out at me was the sheer range of views in there. You've got creators genuinely excited using AI for music, but then also these, deep concerns about government control and what it even means to be human anymore.
That's the fascinating part. It's immediate. These aren't academics debating in 10 years. They're creators messing with the tools now and asking the big questions as they go. It feels very grounded.
Okay, so let's start with the creative side, because that featured pretty heavily. There's this one person, D-Freak, who's apparently using AI to make truther songs. Metal and hip-hop, aiming to, wake people up.
Yeah.
Politically and socially.
Yeah, which is interesting in itself, isn't it? AI as a tool for, protest music or social commentary, it potentially lowers the bar for getting complex ideas out there musically, maybe bypassing the need for, traditional studios or labels.
And the quality, apparently, is getting seriously good, really fast. Someone in the video actually said they got goosebumps from a recent AI track. That's a huge shift from, the clunky AI music we might remember.
That rapid improvement, it throws up some big questions for the music industry, doesn't it? If AI can churn out high-quality stuff easily, what does that do to human artists? Are we just going to be flooded with AI songs? Does the idea of a superstar even make sense anymore? Or maybe, does it open up totally new ways for humans and AI to create together?
That's a really good point. And they did touch on the legal side, too, like copyright. If an AI makes a song, who owns it? Can you license it? It feels like a whole new legal maze.
Oh, absolutely. The law is scrambling to catch up. I mean, figuring out ownership when the creator isn't technically human, that's a massive challenge for intellectual property as we know it.
And they had a concrete example, the song Last Human Standing by OTW, AI generated.
Yeah.
And the lyrics they talked about, they hit exactly those themes: jobs disappearing, technology taking over. So it's not just talk, it's being expressed through the AI.
Which is powerful, right? The technology itself is being used to explore the anxieties it creates and makes it very tangible. And
it wasn't just music. Someone else mentioned using AI to help make comic books, animated videos. So it's not just seen as replacing artists, but maybe as a tool to boost creativity across different formats.
Exactly. That perspective came through too, not just replacement, but augmentation, a tool to help creators do more, or maybe things they couldn't do before on their own.
Okay, let's switch gears a bit, though, to something that's clearly a major worry based on that video title.
Yeah.
Jobs. AI taking jobs.
Yeah, this is probably the most immediate, widely felt concern. The video even had this anecdote about Mark Benioff from Salesforce, saying they weren't hiring new engineers because AI tools made their current teams so much more productive.
Wow. Okay, that's pretty direct impact right there.
It is. And they specifically mentioned worries about software maintenance, support roles, areas where AI might be able to take over tasks currently done by people.
That really brings it home, doesn't it? How AI is already starting to shift things in the job market. Makes you wonder about the bigger picture economically.
And what's interesting is the split in how people see this. Some view AI productivity as just, progress, good for business. But the video definitely aired the view that it could be a kind of trap.
A trap. How so?
Leading to, mass unemployment maybe, empty factories, the collapse of certain industries. That image really stuck with me. It highlights that deep anxiety about what happens after the efficiency gains.
Yeah, it paints a pretty stark picture. What do we do if whole sections of the workforce just aren't needed in the same way?
It's a massive question society needs to grapple with. How do we adapt? What does work even look like in that future? It forces a fundamental rethink.
Okay, so from jobs.
Yeah.
Let's move to maybe an even bigger theme they explored. Control. Autonomy. And this is where it got, well, kind of deep.
It did.
There was fear about AI being weaponized for propaganda, misinformation, deepfakes making it impossible to know it's real, especially news. And deepfakes, just for clarity, use AI to realistically fake videos, swapping faces, voices, very convincing stuff.
That's a huge threat. If you can't trust video or audio evidence, what does that do to public discourse, to trust in institutions? The potential for manipulation is just enormous.
And they seem divided on whether AI itself is the problem. Like, will it become evil? Or is it more about the humans behind it, the programmers, the companies, their intentions, kind of a nature versus nurture for machines,
That's a really critical distinction, I think. Is the fear about some runaway superintelligence? Or is it about holding people accountable for the AI they build and deploy? What ethical rules are we putting in place or not putting in place?
And then things took a really fascinating turn. They talked about this Canadian government document mentioning biodigital convergence.
Right.
Which sounds like something out of science fiction, but it's about, merging biology and digital tech. Think wearables, implants, maybe even direct brain interfaces down the line. And the question becomes, what does that do to our autonomy?
That concept, biodigital convergence, it really pushes the boundaries of what we consider human. If our bodies and minds become increasingly intertwined with digital systems, the implications for autonomy, for privacy, for identity are just vast.
They even wondered if we could lose free will. Like if AI gets so integrated into how we think, maybe its thought patterns start feeling better, more rewarding than our own. It's a pretty wild idea to chew on.
It really pushes into philosophical territory, doesn't it? What is free will if our thoughts are constantly mediated or influenced by algorithms? Can you have an authentic thought? How do we even define agency then?
But then, almost like a pushback against all that, the video also mentioned people wanting to reject technology, to seek out, authenticity as a kind of resistance, like a mass digital detox.
Yeah, that resonates, I think. That very human craving for real, unmediated experience. A potential backlash against a world feeling maybe too artificial, too technologically saturated.
They also brought up this idea of a biodigital economy, this feeling that our data isn't just on screens, but is somehow being transmitted through us without us agreeing or getting paid for it. Sounds a bit strange, but it taps into that unease about data privacy.
That feeling of being constantly monitored, our data harvested, it's a real anxiety for many. The idea of it passing through our bodies, even if metaphorically, just makes it feel more invasive, more visceral.
And that led to talk about WBAN, wide body area network. Worries about data just flowing through people, blurring the lines of our physical selves. Again, the tech details might be fuzzy, but the fear is clear. Losing control over our own bodies and minds in a superconnected world.
Yeah, whether WBAN is technically accurate or not isn't really the point. The point is that underlying fear, the fear that technology could erode our personal boundaries, our physical and mental autonomy, it's a valid concern people are grappling with.
And you saw these two completely opposite reactions being discussed. Dig your heels in, resist the tech assimilation, or jump in willingly, merge with AI for enhancement, like two branching paths for humanity.
That dichotomy really sums it up, doesn't it? The fundamental choice we're facing. Do we try to preserve a distinct human sphere, or do we embrace integration, potentially heading towards something, maybe post-human?
And finally, they touch on some broader stuff, too. Social changes, philosophical points, like a sense that maybe rapid tech change is eroding traditional culture or values.
That's almost inevitable, isn't it? Big technological shifts always disrupt cultural norms. And the speed of change now can definitely make people feel disconnected, maybe mourning a perceived loss of older ways.
But then, counterintuitively, there was also this idea, maybe AI could actually solve big global problems. Precisely because humans seem so bad at, getting along and making rational global decisions. It's almost optimistic, but in a kind of cynical way.
Right. It's just a kind of fatigue with human limitations, maybe. A hope that a more logical, perhaps less emotionally driven intelligence could figure out solutions to things like conflict or climate change where we failed.
They also mentioned briefly the huge challenge of giving AI a moral code. I mean, humans can't even agree on one single moral code. How do we program one into an AI?
Exactly. That's one of the Mount Everests of AI ethics. Whose morals do you encode? How do you handle cultural differences? How do you build systems that can navigate genuinely complex ethical dilemmas? It's incredibly difficult.
And then, yeah, the conversation took this slightly weird detour, mentioning something called FEL, which was described like a paid service offering a high consciousness energy field. There was definitely skepticism in the video about that.
Right, and that seemed to be an example of the stranger side currents that pop up around big technological shifts, sometimes mixing tech concepts with more esoteric or spiritual ideas, often playing on people's desire for well-being in uncertain times.
But through all of that, the weird bits, the scary bits, the exciting bits, the conversations seemed to always circle back to core human stuff, didn't it? Like our need for connection, for authenticity, for feeling like we're in control of our own lives.
Absolutely. No matter how sophisticated the tech gets, these fundamental human desires seem to remain central. They're the lens through which we're evaluating all these changes.
So clearly, the views in that OTW LIVE video were all over the map. Complex, sometimes conflicting, and honestly, what we've talked about here just scratches the surface of what they got into.
Definitely. But we hit on some key things, those sort of aha moments, seeing concrete examples of AI music being made now, feeling those anxieties about jobs and control, and wrestling with those really big philosophical questions about where humanity fits in this new picture.
Which leads us to a final thought, really, for you listening. Given everyone we've just discussed, all this rapid change shown in the video, what parts of being human, what experiences do you think are most important to hold on to? Or maybe what needs redefining as we integrate more with AI? It's worth thinking about your own relationship with this tech and what trade-offs you're comfortable with.
It really is a crucial time for this kind of reflection, thinking critically about AI's role not just in society, but in our own lives. We definitely encourage you to keep exploring these ideas and figuring out where you stand on these really vital issues for our future.
One spark, from the shadows to the bright, let's light the dark. Red and blue views, truth in the middle, no script, just thought raw and a little civil. Every question's got layers, so we peel back facts. From the real to the surreal, we don't hold back. Voices collide where ideas ignite. You tuned in, now step into the fight. This is more